Yeah, so we are looking at proportions and variations and partnerships today. Let's see what best we can do to complete these, right? So let's start with proportions, guys. It's a very direct topic as compared to ratios, right? So let's understand what is proportions first of all. Now, whenever two ratios are equal, they are said to be in proportion to each other. So suppose I'm talking about A by B is equal to C by D, then I would say that A, B, C, and D are in proportion to each other, right? Where A is called the first proportion, B is called the second proportion, C is called the third proportion, and D is called the fourth proportion. Right? Now, whenever I use the term proportion, please understand in the term proportion, we will only have even number of terms in proportion to each other. Right? I can say four terms are in proportion, or I can say six terms are in proportion, or I can say eight terms are in proportion, and so on and so on and so on. Right? Now, in proportions, there is one more term called continued proportions. Okay. So, when I talk about continued proportion, as the word indicates continued, every next term is repeating. So here in continued proportions, your number of terms can be either even or the number of terms can be odd, right? So I can say A by B is equal to B by C, which is equal to C by D, which is equal to D by E, and so on and so on and so on, right? Now, there is a term, I'm sure we learned this in school days, something called mean proportion. Clear? Now, when three terms are in continued proportion, A is called the first proportion, B is called the mean proportion, and C is called the third proportion. I repeat, the word continued proportion is really important. So when three terms are in continued proportion, okay, then I would come down to a relationship called A by B is equal to B by C. And I know B is my mean proportion. So when I cross multiply them, I get B square is equal to AC, or I get the value of B is equal to root AC. So whenever the question refers to the word mean proportion, that is nothing but square root of A into C. Now, these are the few terms that we need to know when we move ahead in proportions. Is this point clear, guys? Two simple points: proportions, mean proportions, sorry, continued proportions. Clear? Continued proportions, the terms keep on repeating, and normal proportions, the terms do not repeat. And in continued proportion, you have a term called mean proportion. Clear, guys? Can I move forward from here? Can we solve this question, please? Yeah, so as we discussed, mean proportion of two terms. So mean proportion becomes B. B is equal to square root of A into C. So 6 into 24, I go ahead with square root of 144, which is equal to 12. Clear? So let's move forward here. Can we solve the next question, please? Yeah, let's see this, guys. Now, if the question says what must be subtracted from each of 7, 8, 11, and 14 so that the remainders are proportional. Okay. Now, when I say remainders means after subtracting the terms should be in proportional. So, if 4 terms are proportionate to each other, I would say A by B is equal to C by D. 1 second, guys. Right. So, after the subtraction, we are talking about the proportions. Okay. So that's going to be 7 minus x by 8 minus x should be equal to 11 minus x by 14 minus x. And this is going to be your final answer. Clear? So you need to find the value of x. Now, the best thing that you can do is you can directly use options and get your answer. And in this case, your answer has to be option B. Right? So all of you have given the same answer. That is option E. Perfectly fine. Now let's learn what is equal ratios here. Okay. So when I have more than two equal ratios, or when I have ratios which are equal to each other, clear? There's a very important term that we follow. Suppose I say A by B is equal to C by D is equal to E by F. Let us say that is equal to P. Let me skip this. Okay. Let me go ahead with this. Do not solve the answer. Let's solve it together. Suppose I'm saying that I have A by B is equal to C by D is equal to 4 by 5. Okay, it extends to any number of ratios. And suppose I want you to calculate the value of A plus C divided by B plus D. Let's understand the logic behind law of equal ratios. Okay. Now, in a way, law of equal ratios is nothing but I have two different ratios. In a way, I can write this as A by B is equal to 4 by 5 and C by D is also equal to 4 by 5. Now, in yesterday's class, we learned that if you have two ratios, the variables have to be different. So, I am writing A is equal to 4x and B is equal to 5x. Second ratio, the variable has to be different. Okay, guys. Now, let's replace these. What do you get here? 4x plus 4y divided by 5x plus 5y, and therefore you get 4 times of x plus y by 5 times of x plus y. X plus y and x plus y gets cancelled and you still get the answer as 4 by 5. Clear? Now, not just this, understand what I'm actually doing. The underlying assumption or the underlying principle here is whatever coefficient you are multiplying to the numerator. Let's say the numerator of this is a. Okay. I'm multiplying the same coefficient to the denominator of the fraction. Similarly, whatever I'm multiplying to the numerator, I'm multiplying the same to the denominator. Suppose I now go ahead with 3a plus 5c divided by 3b plus 5d. Now observe, if I have a by b here, I'm multiplying 3 to a and I'm multiplying 3 to b. Clear? If I have c by d here, I'm multiplying 5 to c and I'm multiplying 5 to d. Clear? Now, if I'm multiplying the same term to the numerator and denominator, by default, you can say the answer is 4 by 5. Is this point clear with all of us? It can be going ahead to any such constant, any such value. Clear? Suppose I say 2a minus c by 2b minus d. This will also be equal to 4 by 5. You can replace these values and see, you'll get 4 by 5 only. Clear? You want to take a minus 3c by b minus 3d, even this will be equal to 4 by 5. Clear, guys? Any doubts? So whatever variable you are taking from the numerator, if you are picking up the same variable from the denominator, the ratio is always equal to 4 by 5. So Praja, you can just replace these values on my graph. So 2 into 4x entamma 8x minus 4y. 2 into 5x entamma 10x minus 5y. Take the common term, you'll get 4 by 5 amma. If you take 4 common 2x minus y, you take 5 common again 2x minus y. So 2x minus y, 2x minus y gets cancelled. The answer is 4 by 5. So I repeat, if it is a by b, if you're multiplying a term to a, you're multiplying the same term to b. If you're multiplying minus 1 to c, you're multiplying minus 1 to d. Whenever you are going ahead with this uniformity, the answer will always be equal to the value, that is the ratio equal to. Is this clear now, Supraja? Now, if I'm talking about a by b is equal to c by d is equal to 4 by 5. Now, sometimes students say the answer for this question is also 4 by 5, which is wrong. Please understand, I have not picked up a from the numerator a. This is a square and c square. So, if a by b is equal to c by d is equal to 4 by 5, can I say that a square by b square is equal to c square by d square is equal to 16 by 25? Right, guys? Now you apply law of equal ratios. Now the law of equal ratios as per the question is, I am picking up a square from the numerator and I'm picking up b square from the denominator. I am picking up minus c square from the numerator and I'm picking up minus d square from the denominator. So this should also be equal to 16 by 25. All clear, guys? Can I proceed from here? Can we solve this, please? Yep. Let's see this, guys. Now, this question says clearly that if a by b is equal to c by d, which is equal to 4 by 5, whenever you are in doubt, you can always take this. Let's say a is equal to 4x and b is equal to 5x. C is equal to 4y and d is equal to 5y. Now, whenever this is used, so you will get 4 into 4x minus 3 into 4y divided by 3 into 5x plus 4 into 5y. Or in short, if the law of equal ratios is not maintained here, then the answer directly becomes cannot be determined. Clear? If you observe, you can see this. This is 16x minus 12y divided by, you have 15x plus 20y. So you take 4 common here, you get 4x minus 3y. But here if you take 3 common, you get 4x plus 3y. Right? These two will not get cancelled. So therefore the answer here becomes cannot be determined. Is this point clear with all of us, guys? Yep. Now let's enter into variations here. Okay. Now whenever I go ahead in variations, now what happens in variation? Variation is nothing but directly proportional or directly variation. So I might say x varies directly as y, which we have learned in school. X is directly proportional to y. When I say x is directly proportional to y, when x increases, y also increases at a constant rate, which means I would write this as x is equal to k into y. This is what we have learned in school days. Clear? Now there's one more way to solve. The other method to solve is I can also write this as x1 by x2 is equal to y1 by y2. Clear, guys? So whenever I'm talking about x1 by x2 is equal to y1 by y2, now in the whole process, all that we are looking at is 99% of the questions will fall under this category. Clear? But there are certain questions which will fall under this category. We will be discussing them. Do not worry. Now this is varies directly. Okay. Now I can go ahead with inversely. So if there is inverse variation or inversely proportional, I would write x is inversely proportional to y. Again, the same thing, I bring a rate of change is constant, which means it's changing at a constant rate. X is equal to k into 1 by y, or what we will be majorly using is x1 by x2 is equal to y2 by y1, because they are inversely proportional to each other. Clear, guys? So as I said, 99% of the cases or a majority of the cases, we will be using a1 by a2 is equal to b1 by b2, or a1 by a2 is equal to b2 by b1. Only in certain cases, I will discuss those models with you. Only in those cases, we will bring constant into picture. Is this point clear with all of us, guys? Yeah, perfect. So let's look at the questions, please. First few questions will be very simple. Start solving them. Right. So y varies directly as x. So when I say y varies directly as x, so y is directly proportional to x. As I said, we will be using x1 by x2 is equal to y1 by y2. So x1 is equal to 6, x2 is equal to 5, y1 is equal to 24, and I do not know the value of y2. So it's a very simple question. 6 ones are 6 fours are, so therefore the value of y2 is equal to 20. Perfectly right by all of you. Can we again have a small brush up for 30 seconds? So y varies inversely as x. So y is inversely proportional to x, which means I can say y1 by y2 is equal to x2 by x1. Clear? So y1 is equal to 3, y2 is equal to 1. I do not know the value of x2, and the value of x1 is equal to 2. So you see, this is equal to 6. Now we have seen direct variation and inverse variation. Okay, now we will see joint variation. Let's learn joint variation first. Now, whenever I talk about joint variation happens when there are more than two terms. Okay. Now, as is given in this question, x is directly varying with y, and x varies directly with z. As we had seen how to merge two or more ratios, the same principle applies to merge two or more variations. For you to merge two or more variations, you have to have a repeated term. Okay, and the repeated term has to be kept on the left hand side. Clear, guys? The repeated term has to be kept on left hand side. Now the logic is quite simple. Write the repeated term once and multiply the right hand side term. So I get a relationship called x is directly proportional to y into z, or x varies with y and z. If I have this relationship, I would write my final equation as x1 by x2 is equal to y1 z1 by y2 z2. Clear, guys? So x1 is 2. I do not know the value of x2. y1 is 3, z1 is 5, y2 is 9, and z2 is 15. Clear? So therefore, I get 3 ones are 3 threes are, 5 ones are 5 threes are. So when you cross multiply, the value of x is equal to 18. Can we solve this, please? Last 10 seconds. Yep. So A, B, and C are three quantities. A varies directly with B when C is constant, and A varies directly with C when B is constant. So again, A varies directly with B when C is constant, and A varies directly with C when B is constant. Okay. So when I club both of them, I repeat, the repeated term has to be on the left hand side. So you write the repeated term only once, that is A, and you multiply the right hand side term. So it's similar to what we have seen in the previous one. So if A varies with B and C, I go ahead with this as A1 by A2 is equal to B1 C1 by B2 and C2. So what do we get here, guys? So we get 6,000. I do not know the value of A2 is equal to, we get 20 into 30 divided by 40 into 60. 21s are 22s or 31s are 32s. So the value of A2 is equal to 6,000 into 4. That is going to be 24,000. That's always the same thing, no? 4E4 way. When C is constant, only then A will vary with B, no? All our physics formulas have been derived on the same lines, right? Can we solve this, please? Yep, now let's see this, guys. Now it says A varies directly with B when C is constant. That means I'm not focusing on C when A and B are playing. Clear? Similarly, A varies inversely with C when B is constant. Clear? So if I need to merge both of them, the repeated term will be written only once and I multiply the right hand side terms. That is A is proportional to B by C. Clear? If A is proportional to B by C, I write this as A1 by A2 is equal to B1 C1 and this is B2 C2. Clear, guys? So A1 is equal to 26. I do not know the value of A2. B1 is equal to 65 and C1 is equal to 30, whereas B2 is equal to 84 and C2 is equal to 42. So we simplify this. This is 42 ones and 42 twos. This is 13 twos and 13 fives, 5 ones, 5 sixes. So the value of A2 is going to be 6 into 2 into 2. That is equal to 24. Let's start applying in word problems, guys. Can we get the correct answer for this question, please? Take a minute. Read the question carefully, guys. It's really important. Yep. Read the question careful is what I told you. So be very careful. Few of you are giving me 6 is to 7 and few of you are giving me 7 is to 6. So reading the question becomes really important. Okay. The question is asking me find the production of last year to this year. So let me term that as P1 and P2. The question says the cost per kg of rice varies inversely with the square of the quantity of the thing. So let's say production is varying inversely with the square of the cost. We can say this also, guys. If cost is inverse to production, production is also inverse to cost. Clear? So in this process, I can write, sorry, a square of the quantity, right? My bad. Yeah. So in this process, we can write P1 whole square by P2 whole square will be equal to C2 by C1. Clear? Or in short, the question has asked me P1 by P2, which will be equal to square root of C2 by C1. Now, what is C2 here? C2 is 49 and what is C1? C1 is 36. So therefore, my dear students, the correct answer is 7 is to 6 and not 6 is to 7. That's why I gave you a hint in the beginning that please read the question statement carefully. Okay, so let's move forward. Again, another simple question. Quick, around a minute to solve, please. Right, very easy question. The volume of a sphere is directly proportional to the cube of the radius. So volume of a sphere is directly proportional to r cube. So in short, we will have V1 by V2 is equal to R1 cube by R2 cube. Okay, guys. So if that means the question is asking the ratio of the radii. So let me make a radii as the subject, which is cube root of V1 by V2, which is 8 by 1. So cube root of 8 by 1 is going to be 2:1. And that is going to be our answer. Clear, guys? Can we solve this question, please? Again, a very simple question. Let's take a minute to solve this. Yeah, let's see this. The value of a diamond varies directly with the square of the weight. So in short, I can write this as V1 by V2 is equal to W1 square by W2 square. Okay. So if I look at it this way, the value is 9,000. I do not know the second value. The weight is 1.5, so 1.5 into 1.5, and the second weight is 2.5, so I'm using 2.5 into 2.5. Clear? So 15 by 25 here is going to be 3 by 5. Again, 15 by 25 is going to be 3 by 5. 3 into 3 is 9, and 9 into 1000 is 9,000. Okay, guys? So therefore, the total value of the second diamond is going to be 25,000. Clear, guys? So these are all very basic questions on, variations. Now it's time for us to step up the game. So we will solve 4 to 5 questions, which are like really good applications of the proportions concept here, right? So take a minute and solve this question, please. Yeah, let's discuss this model, guys. Now, this model says that the value of a diamond, okay, varies directly as square of its weight. Okay, so value of a diamond varies directly as square of its weight, which means I'm talking about the value is proportional to W square. Now, in this question, somehow you will not be able to use V1 by V2 kind of concept immediately. Why? Because the question has given you something else here. The question has told that if a diamond falls and breaks into two pieces, right? So that means I'll have to do things separately, right? So let's try to understand what is happening here. So suppose I'm breaking this as V is equal to K into W square. Okay. Now let's try to see this. Now it broke down into two pieces in the ratio of 2:3. So one piece, if the weight of one piece is 2x, then can I say that according to this, oh, just one second, if the weight of first one broken stone is 2x, can I say the value is going to be 4x square k? Is this point clear with all of us? Similarly, if the weight of the second stone is 3x, its value is going to be again 9x square k according to the formula. Which means if I am selling the broken parts separately, that means the total cost I would have got is 13x square k. Okay. Now, had the stone not broken, so 2x plus 3x, so can I say the unbroken stone's weight will be 5x, and the unbroken stone's value according to this condition or this relationship would be 25x square k. So I should have got 25x square k, but whereas I just got 13x square k. So can I say the loss due to breakage is 25x square k minus 13x square k, which is 12x square k? Quick responses, guys. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Perfect. Now, what else is the information given in the question? Now, if I see that if the value of the original diamond is 6,25,000. So what is the value of original diamond according to us? 25x square k. So if 25x square k is equal to 6,25,000, from here I will get the value of x square k is 25,000. And now the question is asking you loss due to breakage, which means the question is asking the value of 12x square k, which is going to be nothing but 12 into 25,000. Now what is 25 into 12? I can break 12 as 10 plus 2. Okay, guys. So 25 into 10 is 250. 25 into 2 is 50. 250 plus 50 is going to be 300, followed by 3 zeros. And therefore, the loss due to breakage is 3 lakh rupees. Is this point clear with all of us? Can we solve this, please? Take a minute. Yeah, let's see this, guys. So here again, you will see that there is a difference happening there as compared to normal question. Okay, A is the sum of two quantities B and C. If I follow, A is equal to B plus C. Okay, now let's follow the question, guys. B in turn varies directly as X. So B is directly varying with X. C in turn varies inversely as X. So C is inversely proportional to X. Okay. Now, if I have two ratios, we discussed we will have two variables. Here I have two proportionalities. So I will have two variables here. So let me assume that B is equal to P into X and C is equal to Q divided by X, because it's very clear that here you cannot use B1 by B2 is equal to C1 by C2. Clear? So if I replace these two things in my formula, it becomes A is equal to Px plus Q by X. Now let's follow the question. Now what does the question say? When X is equal to 1, when X is equal to 1, what do I get? I get P plus Q. As per that, the value of A is equal to 3. Now the question says when X is equal to 2, if X is equal to 2, what do I get? I get 2P plus Q by 2. Okay. This gives me the value of A is equal to 3 again. So in this whole process, what do I look at it? If I need to get the values of P and Q, let's replace this with, multiply this with 2. If I multiply this with 2, what do I get? I get 6 is equal to 2P plus 2Q. And this is 2P plus Q by 2 is equal to 3. So when I simplify, so I get the value of 3 is equal to 3Q by 2. So 3 and 3 gets cancelled, which means the value of Q is equal to 2. Replace the value of Q is equal to 2 in the first equation, guys. So the value of P is equal to 1. P is equal to 1 and Q is equal to 2 is what we have finally. Okay. Now let's replace this in the main equation. If I go to the main equation, I know that A is equal to P into X, that is 1 into X, plus Q divided by X, that is 2 divided by X. This is the final equation that we have. Now, what is the question talking about? The question says find the value of A when the value of X is equal to 4. Okay. So I will find the value of A when the value of X is equal to 4. So this becomes 4 plus 2 by 4. And that's going to be 4.5 should be your answer. Any doubts, guys? Perfect. So let's move forward, guys. So one more variant. Take a minute and solve, and then I'll explain you the concept. Very good question. Very beautiful model and a very real life applications model. So Pritha, replace X is equal to 1 or 2, Amma. So you get two equations, Amma. Yeah, let's see this, guys, now. Now, this is a very practical example. Why did I say a practical example? Suppose, let's, I'm not very sure if you have done this. Suppose I'm trying to organize a party in a hotel. Okay. So whenever I'm trying to organize a party in a hotel, the manager would tell me that, bro, I have a hall which can have a maximum of 200 people. Okay. So we have a hall which can have a maximum of 200 people, right? And let's say for that hall, we are charging 10,000 rupees. So you can use the hall for 10,000 rupees. What does this mean? Doesn't matter whether people turn out to be 100, 150 or 200. I can have maximum of 200 there, right? So it doesn't matter how many people turn out in my party, I have to pay 10,000 rupees to him. So my party expenses one shot is very much fixed, that this 10,000 rupees is fixed irrespective of number of people coming to my party. Clear? Now what? Now let's say we want to eat something. So that guy says, okay, we have eating facilities also. Then for eating, we have a list of menu and we will charge you 300 rupees per plate or per member who comes to the party. So 10,000 plus, can I say the total cost of the party would be 300 into number of plates should give me my total cost. Now, since this is varying, this varies with the number of people attending, this is called a variable cost. So always remember that your total cost is nothing but your fixed cost plus variable cost. And this is what you mean by this term, that it is partly fixed and partly varying linearly with the number of boarders who are with us. Clear, guys? So therefore, this is how you frame. So in short, your fixed, this is called a fixed cost variable cost model. So your total cost is a combination of fixed cost and a variable cost. And according to me, the variable cost is the number of units or the number of people into cost per person. Clear? So total boarding expenses according to this question says is 12,000, which is fixed cost plus 40 boarders. I do not know the cost per boarder. Whereas the question says that the total cost is 15,000 if it is F plus 55. See, now I'll tell you a simple shortcut, guys. Okay. The simplified shortcut here in these kind of questions is, look at the question statement. The question says find the total expenses when there are 75 boarders. Okay. So when I'm talking about total expense, which means I have to calculate F plus 75C. Is this point clear, guys, with all of us? Remember this kind of questions will help you save time here only. Okay. Now, F plus 75C, can I also write it as F plus 55C plus 20C? Quick responses, guys. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Now, we already know the value of F plus 55C. I always solve with this line, on these lines only. So, my final answer has to be 15,000 plus the value of 20C. So, I will not waste my time calculating F. I have to only calculate C. If I have to only calculate C from here, I subtract both the equations. So what do I get? I get minus 15C is equal to minus 3,000, or I get the value of C is equal to 20. Minus minus gets cancelled. 15 ones are 15. Sorry, 200. My bad. Clear, guys? So if C is equal to 200, I know 20C. So the value of 20C is going to be 20 into 200. And therefore, your total value is going to be 4,000. So 15,000 plus 4,000. So your final value here becomes 19,000 is your final value. Clear, guys? Let's move forward. Yep. Last two questions before we move into the next concept called partnerships. We still have time. Let's buck up a bit. Let's try to solve these two questions in 5 minutes. Take 2 minutes to solve and then I'll explain you. Quick guys, last 30 seconds. Push, get the answer please. Not even a single answer so far. Come on, guys. It's an easy question, actually. It's not, yeah. So we have one answer quickly, please. 213 was quick enough to get the answer. Let's see whether that's right or wrong. Yeah. So let's go ahead and solve this, guys. So this question says that the electricity bill consists of two parts: a fixed charge for providing service and a variable charge, which is directly proportional to the number of units of power consumed. Okay, same course, same thing that's being told here. So an amount of 700 is collected from a customer. Okay, let me write it here. So 700 is collected when the customer has used 50 units. Okay. Now, it is noticed that when the consumption increases from 100 units to 200 units. So what was the bill when 100 units was used? Let's say cost per unit is U. So F plus 100 U. And what was the cost when 200 units were used? F plus 200 U. Now the question says that the bill amount increases to, that means my new amount has now become 5 by 4 times of the former. Former means here my current bill is 200 and my former bill is 100. Okay. So when I'm going ahead with this, when you cross multiply, what do we get? We get 5F plus 500U is equal to 4F plus 800U, or we get the value of F is equal to 300U. Clear? If the value of F is 300U, now the question is asking you how much is the fixed charge. Let me replace F as 300U here. 300U plus 50U, that gives me 350U. Okay. So 350U is equal to 700, or the value of U is equal to 2. If the value of U is equal to 2, fixed cost is equal to 300 into 2, that is equal to 600. Is this point clear with everyone? I'm coming down to your doubt at 438. See 438, roll number 438, the question says, it is noticed that when the consumption increases from 100 units to 200 units, the bill amount. So the bill amount when 100 units is consumed is F plus 100U. And the bill amount when 200 units is consumed is F plus 200U. Okay. Now it says the bill amount, that is 200 units bill amount. Sai Ramya, again listen to me. Where are you now? 100 units or 200 units? 405. I am currently consuming 200 units a month. So my bill amount of 200 units. Just focus on my equation, okay? Bill amount of 200 units increases to. Increases to means, can I say have become? Quick responses. Yeah, increase to, that means bill of 200 has become 5 by 4 times of the former. Former means, can I say I'm referring to 100 units of bill amount. And that's what I did, Kadamma. 5 by 4 of the bill amount of 100 units is equal to the bill amount of 200 units. Clear 438? So that's great. Let's move to the next one, please. Yeah, let's solve this, please. Yep, let's see this now. So the distance that a body falls through when dropped from a certain height varies directly with the square of the time of the fall. Okay. So all I'm looking at here is that distance is directly proportional to square of the time of the fall. Okay. So all that we can look at here is, if let's say in the first 1 second, if t is equal to 1, that means in 1 second, let me assume distance covered is 1 kilometer. Let me assume, okay. Now, if I take t is equal to 2, then can I say 2 square, the distance covered will be 4 kilometers. So what does this mean? Which means the total distance covered in 2 seconds is 4 kilometers. So can I say this 4 kilometers is distance covered in the first second plus distance covered in the second second? Is this point clear with all of us? Quick responses, please. There is a huge difference between distance covered in 2 seconds versus distance covered in second second. Are you getting the point, guys? Distance covered in 2 seconds versus distance covered in second second. So when I'm dropping in 2 seconds, that means the total distance covered in 2 seconds is 4 according to this. That is distance covered in 1 and distance covered in 2. Clear? Similarly, so can I say if I know the distance covered in the first second is 1 kilometer, after the first second to the second second, the distance covered is 3 kilometers. So can I say the distance covered in the second second is equal to total distance covered in 2 seconds minus the distance covered in the first second? Is this point clear with all of us, guys? Quickly response, please. So now, similarly, can you calculate on the same lines what is the distance covered in third second? If I replace t is equal to 3, I will get the total distance covered in 3 seconds, that is 9. But total distance covered in 3 seconds is nothing but distance covered in first second plus distance covered in second second plus distance covered in third second. Now this I can term it as total distance covered in 2 seconds. This is total distance in 2 seconds. So we know total distance in 2 seconds is 4 plus distance covered in third second will be 5, only then I will have 9. So can I say distance covered in third second is the total distance covered in 3 seconds minus the total distance covered in 2 seconds? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Clear? So please remember, if I replace t is equal to 10 number, then it says the distance covered in first second plus second second plus third second plus fourth second and so on, so on, so on. Ninth second plus 10th second. This is the total distance covered that as per the question is equal to 500 here. So let's use this logic here. So the logic that we are using is distance is proportionate to the square of the time fall. So distance I know is 500 is equal to k into 10 square is 100, which means the value of k is equal to 5. So can I say if I replace t is equal to 9, that will give me first second plus second second plus third second plus fourth second, 8th second and 9th second. So this complete distance that is covered is equal to 9 square into k. What is 81 into 5? That is 405. So all of you gave me the answer as 405. That is wrong because 405 is the total distance covered, but the question is asking you only 9th second here. So if I want only this part, I'm just highlighting it, okay? If I want only the highlighted part, that is 9th second, I have to subtract 1 to 8 kadamma. 1 to 8 subtract cheyali aithe first second plus second so on till 8th second. This will be when you replace t is equal to 8 here. T is equal to 8 అయితే 8 square 64, 64 into 5 ఎంత అవుతుందమ్మా 320 అవుతుంది. So if I subtract 405 minus 320, I get 85. 85 is the distance covered in the 9th second. Very beautiful question to end variations. So please sometimes read the question. He's not asking you in 9 seconds. 4k3 ఇక్కడ చూడమ్మా. Can I say k is equal to 5, mama? 4k3. k is equal to 5 అర్థమైంది కదా. అయితే మన ఈక్వేషన్ ఏంటి వచ్చింది? d is equal to k into t square నాన్న. ఇప్పుడు మేము t వాల్యూ 8 రీప్లేస్ చేసుకుంటున్నాము. ఓకే, సో 8 స్క్వేర్ ఎంత? 64. 64 into 5 ఎంత? 320 నాన్న. Now is it clear? 4k3. Perfect. Can I proceed, guys, with your permission? 12:15. Yeah. So let's move into another interesting and a very simple concept. So you can expect questions from this model because partnerships is a model which is generally asked in the examination here, right? So we'll move to partnerships. So all these are interconnected chapters where you're applying ratios, proportions, everything is interconnected. Okay, so partnership, I'll tell you in a simple terms, only one formula, guys. Okay, standardized formula, apply and get the answer. Okay, so generally we are talking about profit sharing ratio. Now, when I say profit sharing ratio, obviously people come into partnership to share profits, right? But people come into partnership with investment also, right? So profit sharing ratio will be dependent on the time period for which investment is made and how much investment is made. That's obvious, right? And how much investment is made. Clear? So therefore, the final profit sharing ratio, let's say the time period for which A has invested is TA and the investment of A is IA. So it's TA into IA is 2. TB into IB is 2. TC into IC and so on and so on and so on. This becomes your profit sharing ratio. Clear, guys? Now, if the time period for which they have invested is same, if the time period for which they have invested is same, అయితే ఏంటవుతుందమ్మా? This is T into IA. This will again be T into IB, which will again be T into IC కదా. అయితే T cancel అయిపోద్ది. So in case time period of investment is same, then the profit sharing ratio is equal to the ratio of investments. Am I understood? Just understand this much and then we'll apply with the help of questions. Do not worry. Just a brief introduction, nothing else. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take this. Let's solve this. Give me a minute. I'll just get some water. So start solving these, guys. Rule number 5I4 is asking, is chain rule same as proportions? Yeah, chain rule is joint proportion number or joint variation. We'll discuss that today. I might slightly extend the class, okay? So now I again repeat, Rahul and Rohit get into a partnership with rupees 4,000 and 5,000 to fund a new venture. Clear? So they got in together. In what ratio should they divide the profit of rupees 1,80,000 at the end of the year? Which means they have invested for the same time. So in a way, if Rohit's investment has been invested for 12 months, then Rohit's investment, Rohit's investment will also be invested for 12 months. So as I discussed already, if the investment is for the same time period, then this becomes the profit sharing ratio. So therefore, the profit sharing ratio here becomes 4:5. Now the question did not ask you anything else. The question asked you profit sharing ratio. Very simple question to start off with. Okay, somebody wanted me to repeat once again. It is IA into time period of A is to IB into time period of B and so on and so on. Let's see this together because we might have to stretch a bit. So let's see this together. Now this question says that A and B enter into a partnership. Let's read it together with rupees 8,000 and 15,000 respectively. Now be with me and see how do I solve this. Okay. So I write A is investing 8,000. So I skip 3 zeros in my mind because see, I mean, eventually we have to calculate the ratio. Okay. Or if you want, you can write this 8,000 and 15,000. Okay. Now after 3 months, C joins them. Okay. So if you want, you can mention. So first break is after 3 months. So for first 3 months, A's money was invested. For first 3 months, B's money was investment, and C had not invested anything. Okay. Now after 3 months, what happened? C invested joining 10,000, which means A's money continued with 8,000, B's money continued with 15,000, and C's money started coming in with 10,000. Clear? Now, 4 months before the first year completed. That means 4 months before the 12th month. So for how many months are we talking about? We are talking about 8 months. So after 8 months, B quit. That means B's money was invested for how many more months? B's money was invested for only 5 more months. And after this, B's money did not continue investing. Okay. B quit taking his amount back. In what ratio should the profit be distributed at the end of first year? So A, there was no change. So A continued investing for 9 months. So if I look at it this way, A's money was invested for 12 months. B's money was invested for 8 months. And C's money was invested for how many months, guys? C came after 3 months and he stayed for the end of the year. So C's money was still 9 months. Clear? So these 3 zeros got cancelled. That's why, if you remember, I told you we can ignore zeros because we have to take the ratio eventually. Okay. Now I have 8 and 10 here. So I can write this as 2 6, 2 4, and 2 5. Nothing else is common. 8 6 are 48, 15 4s are 60, and oh wait, I have 3 common also, no? 5 9s are 45. I can again take a 3 common. So 3 16s, 3 20s, and 3 15s. So therefore, your final profit sharing ratio would be 16 is to 20 is to 15. Is this point clear with all of us? So B has it. So see, we are considering for how many months the investment was there. We are not considering he took it off. See, if you have invested in a business for 8 months, in the first 8 months profit ostadi kadamma. So you have the right of profit kada. So you will be focusing for how many months the investment was in the business. Right. So that should be the focal point. Because of my investment, the company has made some profit. That's why we are investing. Clear? Can we solve this question, please? Quick, I'll give you 1 minute. It's a very simple question. Now let's see this. X started a business with 76,000 rupees. After a few months, Y joined him. Okay, let's say after X, or let's say after K months, Y joined him. Okay. With 57,000 rupees. Okay. At the end of the year, that means X, the money with X got invested for 12 months. And the money with Y remained as the business for 12 minus K months. And this is in the ratio of 2:1. That's nothing else. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 19 fours are 19 threes are 2 ones and 2 twos, 3 ones and 3 fours. So what do you have here, guys? You have 12 minus K is equal to 8, or the value of K is equal to 4. A few of you are giving the answer as 8, which is wrong. You will get the value of this as 8. That is for the number of months the investment was in the business. The question is not asking you for how many months the investment was in the business. The question is asking us after how many months he joined, which means for how many months his investment was not in the business. Clear? It's really important for us to understand this very beautiful statement made here, right? After how many months Y joined, which means I am interested in knowing for how many months he was absent. Okay, for how many months his investment was not in the business. That's gonna be your answer. Clear, guys? Let's move forward. Let's solve this, please. The ratio of their investments is 11:12. Let me assume that this guy's investment was 11K and this guy's investment was 12K. Clear? X invested the money for 8 months. I do not know for how many months did Y invest the money. And this ratio given to me is 11:12. Sorry, the ratio of the profits, my bad. The ratio of the profits is 2:3. This 2:3. That's what I thought. 11:12, everything will get cancelled. Yeah. So this is 4 twos and this is 4 threes. 3 and 3 gets cancelled. K and K gets cancelled. 2 and 2 gets cancelled. That means Y's money was in the business for 11 months. Why did I take as Y? Because the question is asking you for how many months his money was in the business. So therefore, his money was inside the business for 11 months. Can we solve this question, please? Quick, I repeat, I'll just take around 10 odd minutes extra today. So kindly bear with me, guys. Because a few more questions and I want to just introduce chain rule and leave it. Because chain rule is nothing but joint variation. So A and B enter into a partnership with capitals in the ratio of 5:6. Okay. So let me assume that A's investment was 5K and B's investment was 6K and they started. At the end of 7 months, A withdrew his share. That means his money was invested for 7 months. And at the and B continued in a way. Okay. A withdraws his share. If they receive the profit in the ratio of 5:9, find how long B's capital was used. That means they did not start together, right? So let's see, 5K into 7 and 6K into X. This given to me is in the ratio of 5:9. So I can cancel X and X here. So sorry, 5 and 5 here, K and K here, 3 2s are 3 3s are. So the value of X is equal to 21/2, which means for 10.5 months his money was in the business. So simple concept, guys, the investment into time period is equal to profit sharing ratio. Nothing else we are doing here. Clear? Investment into time period is profit sharing ratio. Investment of A into time period of A, investment of B into time period of B. Yeah. Can we solve this question, please? Just 1 second. Okay. So we'll not take too much of time also. After this, I'll take 5 minutes after this question. Okay. Investment of B into time period of B for which her money was invested in business, Ravali. This is standard formula, Kadamma. No, it did not mention, no. If the question is asking you for how many months was B's money invested, so it might happen that they stop the business after 10.5 months, no? Are you getting it? If the money was there for the whole year, you would have got a different answer, Kadamma. Then what are you calculating? You're not calculating anything. Yeah, this question says that X, Y, and Z enter into a partnership with capitals of 25,000, 30,000, and 15,000 respectively. Okay, I'm ignoring zeros. X is a working partner and gets 30% of the profit. Okay. Let's first divide this by 5. 5 5s are, 5 6s are, and 5 3s are. So first X gets 30% of the profit and the balance profit is distributed in the ratio of their investments. Okay. So let's see this, guys. So ratio of their investments, which means, so let me assume that his total profit is 100x coming from percentages chapter. So X, so 100K. Okay. So X already gets, can I say 30K is given to X already? Right? So 30K is already what X receives. Now the remaining 70K is received by A, B, and sorry, X, Y, and Z in the ratio of 5:6:3. So 5 plus 6 is 11, 11 plus 3. So the share of X is going to be 14 into 70K. The share of Y will be 6 by 14 into 70K. And the share of Z will be 3 by 14 into 70k. So 14 ones are 14 fives are. So X also further receives 25k as the profit. Y receives only 30k as the profit, and Z receives 15k as the profit. Clear, guys? So total profit received by X is 55k, total profit received by Y is 30k, and total profit received by Z is 15k. Is this point clear? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Now, what does the question talk about? The question says X gets 200 more than B and C, which means together B and C. So X gets 55k, whereas B and C get 45k. So how much? Oh, sorry, that's Y and Z. My bad. Else you will not have the answer. Thank you, Ravli. Clear? So the gap between these two is 10k, and the value of 10k is equal to 200, which means the value of k is equal to 20. If the value of k is equal to 20, I want the profit of each one of them. Can we get the profit of each one of them, guys? The profit of each one of them here is going to be how much? 55 into 20 becomes 1100. 30 into 20 becomes 600. And 15 into 20 becomes 300. That's going to be your answer. Why will Y get more than 30% here? I combined this sum, Y plus Z. Am I clear? Can I proceed? Quick responses, please. Yeah. So let's look at now. One last example for today's class is the kind of question somebody asked me this, that okay, chain rule here. So chain rule is joint variation. Suppose I give you this question, okay. Let's say I'm talking about carpenters, okay. I'm saying that 10 carpenters can make 10 chairs, let's say in 10 days, and let's say working 10 hours a day. Okay. You would have seen these kind of questions. Now, I'm asking you how many carpenters can make, let's say, 50 chairs in, let's say, 20 days, let's say, working 8 hours a day. I'm not sure of the numbers, but these kind of questions come. Okay. Now, how do we solve these? Okay. This is called a chain rule concept. Now, the best way I would rather advise you to do this is joint variation. Okay. Let's understand this. This is also a question which comes up in time and work as well. So this question now says carpenters is asked, right? So let me say number of men. Since number of men is asked, let's derive a joint relationship between all of them. Now tell me, what is the proportionality between number of men and number of chairs? Are they directly proportional or inversely proportional? Quick responses, please. So more the number of men, more the number of chairs. So they are directly proportional to each other. Okay. Now next point. Now number of men and number of days. Now tell me, number of men, are they directly proportional to number of days or inversely proportional to number of days? More the number of men, less the number of days required to complete the work. So inversely proportional to number of days. Okay. Now number of men and number of hours. Directly proportional or inversely proportional? More the number of hours, less the number of men required. So ignore the remaining areas. Only focus on those relationships. So can I say I've come back to joint variation now? So if I come back to joint variation, I can write left hand side only once and I multiply all my right hand sides. So what's the final relationship that I have? The final relationship I will have is M1 by M2 is equal to C1 you have N1 into H1, C2, C is the number of chairs, okay, into N2 into H2. That's it, guys. And now you plug in the values. Let's say 10 by X is equal to 10 by 10 into 10 into 50 into 20 into 8. So you can see a lot of things will get cancelled. This 10 and 10 gets cancelled. Then what do we have? This 0 and 0 gets cancelled. Clear. And then you cross multiply and you get your final value. As I told you, I'm not sure whether X will be a non-decimal value, but this is how I solve a chain rule model. So I repeat, the reason I did not have too many questions on these is because it's a joint variation concept. Am I clear now? That's great. So that's it for today, guys. I'll directly meet you guys tomorrow and we will enter into amazing topic called profit and loss. Yeah, these PDFs will be shared. I'm on it, guys. By today afternoon, I've kept myself free for all these works. So you will be getting these PDFs today afternoon itself. So don't worry. All the PDFs of all the classes, including verbal ability and everything. Okay. And thank you for your patience for 9 extra minutes. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, guys. Thanks a lot and have a great time. Thank you, guys.